Buddy. On this episode of TTS Today, we're going to continue with the quotation series. We started with a manual process of entering the quote. Now I'm going to show you the quicker and more efficient ways to enter a quote. We can import, we can create a factory quote, and we can also use a reusable bill of material. So I'll show you how to go through each one of these and the benefits of each. All on today's episode of TTS Today. All right, next up, how to more efficiently create a quote with some tools that we've integrated into the Create Customer Quote screens. First one I want to show you is Import Quote. So what will happen is the factory will provide an Excel workbook, comma separated value file in a format that we can import into the system. Each manufacturer will do this differently. If any of you use our sales analysis tools, you'll know that every manufacturer has a different way of creating reports. Same goes with customer quotations. So if they do send it in an Excel format, you can send it to us and we can map it just like we would do with a sales analysis map. And once that gets mapped, what will happen is we'll add it to this drop down and see we have a bunch in here. And let's just show you real quick. So I have Eaton Beeline Quick Quote, and I'm going to look for that file. And notice once I click on it, it enters all the information into the quote. Basically, line items get imported. In this case, we do have factory quotes. We would still have to enter the customer, the quote name, any vendor information, and anything else in here. Let's take a look at that file just to give you an idea of what is possible. So this is the raw file sent to us by this particular vendor. And notice we have all this line information. Now this looks kind of fancy, but all it is an Excel workbook. So we were able to map it based on this layout to give you all this information. And once we click on that button, it imports it into the quote. Very simply. Next way a manufacturer will send us quote information is using a factory quote or a PDF. In this case, if they do send you a PDF, which cannot be imported into the system, but you want to get it in the system. The main benefit of our quotation system is the ability to notify your quotation team that there is a quote out there so people can act on it. We can add it to action items. We can add it to our calendars, things like that. But we want to get it in the system. With a PDF sitting in someone's inbox, it may get forgotten. So we want to get it into the system. So we would enter our quote name, information, have some information there. Contractors again. We have any contractors, a vendor, product groups, all this information we went over in the first video. But now we have this option of factory quote. So let's choose factory quote. And again, it gives you a browse button. And I'm just going to click on a PDF that we have in there. And we do have the ability to add a value. So without having to open up this quote, later down the road, for instance, I can put a value in here. So if we look at this quote information or when it's sent out to the quotation team, they will know the value of the quote right away. And I'm going to upload the file. And what it does is it adds a line item with a hot link. So what will happen is when we email these out, and I talked about this in the last video, but when we send these out, you'll notice there is a checkbox, send attached factory quote. If you want to do that, it will append this to the email as well. So anybody who opens up this quote through the email will be able to read the PDF, and we have the value in there, and then we can just hit save, and it'll automatically save this, and again, notify our team based on the customer and any of this information in here. So let's click on this real quick just to show you. So this is a PDF, and this cannot be mapped, and that's why we use the factory quote feature. There is our value, all our information, and this gets sent along with the quote at any point in the system. So once we save this, for instance, we'll always be able to access this, even if it disappears off our email or off our hard drive computers. So that is factory quote. Last but not least is going to be reusable bill of materials. So basically with a reusable bill of materials, anybody who uses our TOW system may know this feature, and this is where it was derived from. Reusable bill of materials is a common set of line items that gets quoted quite often, or it's a common parts that you quote often. And what will happen is we can actually build a reusable bill of material from a list. We'll do that in a second, but let's actually show you what happens. So I have these built already. I have a whole bunch. So again, these are common, and you can have as many as you want in there. Common items that we sell all the time. So let's just do ABB submittal. And what will happen is it will fill in our line items with data without having to type it in. Again, the whole purpose for a lot of these different new features versus what we did last week is we want to minimize your typing. So by using a reusable bill of material, it automatically adds this. This one is saved with quantities, for instance. Okay. Let's go back. And by the way, if you make a mistake or you want to just clear your screen, I'm just hitting create customer quote again, and then I can go and choose anything I want. So let's say I wanted to just choose, let's use XHHW. So notice this one is saved, and this is a whole list of items. There's 35 in here. There's no quantities. So this is something, let's say I often quote on these products, but I don't always need a specific quantity. So in this case, I don't need a lot of these, so I can just go down the line. And once I start, I can just hit my down arrow and continue and add. If I missed one, I go back up. And now we notice I have 4 items on this quote that I need, and I have all these zeros. We don't want these zeros, so by clicking this refresh button, that will get rid of anything that is zeroed out, and now I only include the ones that have values in. So there you go. I have a quick way of adding items without having a preset quantity. You could, again, save it with quantities. You could save it without quantities. By doing it this way, you have the ability to customize these reusable bill of materials for each quotation. And then again, I go about adding all this information in the header and click save, and it does the same thing. It notifies the team. Real simple. Didn't have to type this in. No errors in typing or by manually entering it. Makes it much simpler and quicker to do. So the next step, we're going to show you how to create these reusable bill of materials so you have them for future use. How do we build reusable bill of materials? One quick way is by using product files. So I have a product file here. So this is a product which has our descriptions, our product numbers, particular manufacturer, price, all the information that I require to create basically a quote, right? So I move this over to the side, and notice we have description, we have product number, quantity, we're not going to worry about too much, unit price, not going to worry about, but price per, if you have an extension, remarks, weight per. We want to build the most common values here. So I'm just going to highlight description and product. We'll start that way. Let's do a nice big chunk here. And all I'm doing is copying and pasting. So I'm copying it from the left side, and I'm just going to paste it into this screen here. And we've just added 55 lines. Quantity, I'm going to leave blank. Unit price, maybe 0 in this case, because we're going to do pricing in another video. So I'm going to leave the unit price, but the price per is important. So let's add price per in this case. It is all 1,000. So I'm just going to paste in M's, extensions. We're not going to worry about. Weight is important. So let's do weight and weight per. So there you go. What I did is I copied it from this sheet, moved it over to our quotation. So this is a blank quote. But now I want to keep this for further use. I'm always going to be selling these copper products. Okay. And I need to make a reusable bill of material. So I can click save here. So you see reusable bill of material, click save. Gives me the ability to save this and give it a name. So let's say copper. I could put the name of the manufacturer. This one was Southwire. And then click OK. And that's it. We just saved a reusable bill of material. So now when I drop this down, it is sorted alphabetically. We should see copper, wire, products, Southwire. Select that. It adds this. Notice how it puts the unit price of 0 in there because we didn't have a pricing. And now I have my quantities. Again, I can go down. Just use the down arrow key. Fresh. And as quickly as that, I have a quote started. So building these reusable bill of materials will help you be much more efficient for creating these quotes, especially if there's products that you're using all the time. So again, that's the quickest way, other than manually entering our products into the body of a quote, either by importing from the manufacturer's Excel spreadsheet, a factory quote, which is usually a PDF, or reusable bill of materials. Once these are built, these are probably the best way to get your data into a quote. And that's it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.